Once there were three men, Dave, John, and Sam, who were involved in a tragic car accident in which all three died. As they stood at the gates of heaven, St. Peter came up to them and said, "You will all be given a method of transportation for your eternal use around heaven. You will be judged on your past deeds and will have your transport chosen accordingly." St. Peter looked at Dave and said, "You, Dave, were a bad man. You cheated on your wife 4 times. For this, you will drive around heaven in an old beat-up Dodge." Next street, Peter looked at John and said, "You were not so evil, but you still cheated on your wife 2 times. For this, you will forever travel around heaven in a Toyota station wagon." St. Peter finally looked at Sam and said, "You, Sam, have set a fine example. You did not have sex until after marriage, and you never cheated on your wife. For this, you will forever travel through heaven in a Ferrari." A short time later, John and Dave pull up in their cars next to Sam's Ferrari, and there he is, sitting on the hood, head in hands, crying. "What's wrong, Sam?" they asked. "You got the Ferrari. You're set forever. Why so down?" Sam looked up, ever so slowly opened his mouth and cried, "I just saw my wife go by on a skateboard." During one of Don's routine health checkups, his physician began to question him about his level of physical exertion and daily activity, wanting to get a clear picture of his lifestyle. Eager to give a complete and accurate account, Don launched into an elaborate description of what he would consider a typical day in his life, focusing on a particularly active day. "Well, let's take yesterday, for example," he began, settling into his story. "I embarked on an extensive walk that lasted around 5 hours and covered a distance of roughly 5 miles. The path was certainly no walk in the park. It traversed some fairly difficult and demanding terrain, winding through the wilderness." He continued, painting a vivid picture of his arduous journey. "I found myself wading along the border of a lake, the water sometimes reaching my knees. I thrashed through dense patches of thorny brambles, their sharp thorns snagging at my clothes and scratching my skin. The journey wasn't comfortable either. I ended up with sand filling my shoes, making each step a gritty struggle, and the relentless drone of insects buzzing around my head was incredibly irritating. At one point, I narrowly escaped stepping on a venomous snake, its fangs poised to strike. Then I found myself scaling several steep hills comprised of jagged rocks, my hands and feet finding precarious holds. On multiple occasions, I had to pause my adventurous trek to seek refuge behind some large trees to attend to nature's call, adding an element of urgency to the already challenging hike. The intense physical and mental strain from this entire adventure left me completely drained and utterly exhausted by the end of it. To top it off, I ended up consuming 8 cans of beer as a desperate attempt to rehydrate and unwind after such an ordeal. As he listened to Don's story, the doctor couldn't help but feel a sense of admiration for his patient's apparent dedication to outdoor activity and his adventurous spirit. He commented, impressed, "Don, from your narrative, you must be an extraordinarily passionate and adventurous outdoorsman, someone who truly embraces the challenges of nature." To this, Don responded with a sly grin, a hint of self-deprecation in his voice. "Actually, the truth is, I'm just a really bad golfer.